Hello, welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks. I hope everyone's keeping well on this glorious fine day, minus the chemtrails. So, I would like to talk about Thetford Town Council and how they must do better. Thetford Town Council, democracy in action. If by action you mean performance art staged in a cavernous echo chamber, complete with a PA system last calibrated by somebody who is still in nappies. Now let's talk about the legendary 3-minute window to ask a question. The council's idea of public engagement is 3 minutes. That's not just to ask your question, that's the full package. Question and answer. You know, just enough time to say, excuse me, why did that? And then to be cut off by a councillor who responds with all the warmth of a tax audit and the charm of a parking fine. And God help if you try and press for clarity. They look at you as though you've just insulted their great Aunt Mabel. That is, if you can see them through the fog of disdain or the hall's terrible acoustics, which I believe were engineered specifically to amplify arrogance and to muffle accountability. But wait. We were blessed, yes, blessed, with the sacred presence of our local MP, Jermy, a man so committed that he made an appearance. At the cost of the taxpayer, of course. You could practically hear the cash register chime with every nod of concern, although to be fair, there was less concern and more smirk. Ding! That's your council tax paying for a brief wave from Terry. Now, typically, in Thetford, police won't be out on the streets unless, of course, they're doing somebody for travelling 32 in a 30. But wouldn't you know it, outside the town hall, full police presence, a patrol car, bobbies on foot, and probably a sniffer dog somewhere, just in case somebody tried to smuggle in a little bit of common sense. The irony? The hired security guards? Yes, we're footing the bill for that too. And even they have openly said that they're not needed there. Yet there they are, guarding democracy. But from what exactly? An outbreak of transparency? And so I say this, not with malice, but as somebody who has sat through too many patronising glares and echoey non-answers. This isn't governance, it's theatre, and not the good kind. I'm talking low budget, no script, all egos pantomime. Oops, thank you, my 3 minutes are up. Just like my faith in local government. Thetford Town Council, do better. And now here's some words from Bob, our good old friend here at LSB, and Thetford Town Council Watch, where he goes into more detail as to why Thetford Town Council must do better. But let me know what you think in the comments. Look after yourselves. Thank you to those who have donated. Thank you to the new subscribers, and thank you to my new members. Really appreciate it. Love having you about, and you make it all worthwhile. So hats off to you. Thank you. Goodbye from me.
Good morning. As a lot of you know, we're pushing back against our town council. But for those of you that don't know, over a year ago they declared a climate emergency and took £30,000 from the public purse to help towards that climate emergency. In last night's address, I pointed out in very baby steps terms about the fact that there'd been an emergency every 10 years. We had oil in the 60s, and then we had melting ice caps, ozone layer, acid rain. You know the score. You know we've had CO2, and now the sun's bad for us. Each of those 10-year sort of predictions never came to anything. But the correlation was that each time one of these fear-based reports came through, it led to higher taxes. It always leads to higher taxes. But when these fear-based emergencies never come to fruition, those taxes are never returned to the public purse. I tried to point this out to them last night, and only to be met with being interrupted, so you never get your 3 minutes to speak, and to be met with one councillor saying that in all this time you haven't provided us with one peer-reviewed study. Now, over the last year, I've told them where the climate emergency hoax came from. I've told them who's involved. I've told them about doctors and scientists that rebut the claim of a climate emergency. The really laughable bit was how this particular council said, you haven't provided us with a peer-reviewed study. Now, when you actually think about it, would there be a peer-reviewed study going against the narrative of the multinational corporations and the globalist cabal? Would you get a peer-reviewed study published anywhere. These people are psychotic. They haven't got the capacity to think. Now, I've asked them for over a year to provide me with one little piece of evidence to back their claim, and they haven't done it. So the fight continues. The other thing I asked them to reply to was a Labour-based council. It just so happens that the MP for the area was in the meeting. So I directed my question to one senior Labour member and the MP in the room and asked them, do they support the genocide of a nation, based on the fact that the party that they claim to follow the policies of are actually in support of the perpetrators of said genocide. The MP remained completely silent. He never spoke during the whole public debate, and he won't, for fear of incrimination. But the other councillor, the senior councillor, Mr. Terry Land, declared that he takes no part in national policy, yet he'll be banging on the doors of the public in the area, pushing for support for the Labour policy. So I'm very confused. I'm really confused by the comeback. How can you be campaigning for your party and not believe in the policies of the party? That's very strange, isn't it? Anyway, I've shot an email off and see what comes back. But if this gets to the town council in Thetford, then maybe you start to see sense. All I can imagine is you've been given all this information, and the easy thing to do is just bury your heads in the sand. Sitting in the realms of nescience seems to be the way forward for not just this council, but every other council in the country. And they don't realise that at some point, them and their family are going to be in the same boat. Them and their families are going to be victims of this hoax, this scam. Especially now. I mean, especially now we know the sun's bad for us and they're going to try and block it out. Anyway, I've rambled enough. See you later.